And so, as the sun sets around the deserts of Bahrain, ironically enough, the sun rises in a new season of FPRL. Welcome everyone, season 11. How did we get here? I don't know. But we've made it. Season 11 has arrived, and we are at the Sakhir International Circuit in Bahrain to christen a new championship, new opportunities, new drivers, some old, some new, some returning actually to the league. But as always, with the first night in the title fight, as always, bragging rights to had and a state. Good start. Hopefully that's not a sign of what's to happen. Sheriff Woody, hopefully you're not experiencing some more gravitational pulls off the map, or at least off the track, for the duration of the evening. Anyway, Cruising 1872 on your Monday evening, and for the first time this season, for the first race of the season, welcome back, my brother-in-arms, Monkey Boy Kurt. Season 11, we've made it, and how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very...
I would assume very, very sweaty right now, given the weather down in England land.
well, you'd be mistaken. I don't really sweat that much, but yeah, it is an absolute baker today, 31 degrees, and it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do with two fans on me at the moment. But yeah, it's good to be back for season 11, a brand new season. Great to have a full house in. We always love to see that. A few new drivers are coming to the pack, a few returning ones from seasons before, and we should hopefully be in for a really good quality session. Hopefully the pack is really, really close together. We had a few socials to try and sort of sort out the pace of everyone, and hopefully tonight we're going to see a quality session where everyone can be really, really close together, which will make for even more exciting race.
That we will. And as we start off the new championship, Rainbow gets us underway for the very first time of season 11 and the first time around the Sakhir International Circuit, a track that is quite recent. I say recently, for the past number of years, hosted the opening round of the championship until 2024, where Australia took back the bragging rights, so to say. But still, to be fair, a night race is always, visually at least, in real Formula 1, always appealing. As around turn 4 for the Aston Martin partner tonight with Delta, we've had one familiar name in the lead and another new name in the lead, so Delta looking to get a little bit of experience here off of Rainbow around turn 7, driving the beautiful Aston Martin, the car which, as you can tell by the way I'm praising it, is the car that I'll be driving on Friday night around the circuit in Tier 1. God help me. Yellow fladder in Sector 1. That is one of the Red Bulls, keeping well out of the way. I would imagine the returning Eagle in the Red Bull, partnered up tonight with Zafir, a familiar name, formerly known as, now I get this one wrong, formerly known as Cactus, in the lead. A name change for them, but still familiar results, hopefully, for the Red Bull. Around the middle sector here for Rainbow, and the final dash to the line. Final sector here is really just one corner, and that is, well, technically two corners, as you got turn 13 and then turn 14, which, with the new LiDAR layout of the track, the curbs, I feel at least, are a lot more forgiving compared to what they were before. Rainbow on a 31.7, followed promptly by the double Alpine duo of Godfather and Sheriff Woody. Godfather beats his teammate this time by 4/10, despite giving him the slipstream, but Sheriff Woody slingshots to go for another run. There's Rage Twit, another new name in the lead in the Haas, with Major Allen just ahead of them up in 4th. The Tattoo Star sitting in 3rd for the moment, as we're seeing a lot of times rolling in. Dynamo Dan, a name that you will notice familiar from Tier 2 once upon a time, but getting used to a new setup, of course, moving from Xbox to PC and Steam, so keep an eye out on them, see what they can do. Godfather as well, making a transition formally from Xbox onto the computer. There's Locker in the Haas, heading up around Sector 2. Teammates tonight with Rage Grip, as we've said, but has partnered up with Radical. Unfortunately couldn't make it tonight due to other commitments. I will say no more. Probably relaxing after a very, very warm weather day down in England land, as I've said. Blocker down the back straight for what is the first time for a Haas driver, a former winner, if I'm not mistaken, in Tier 3, looking to reignite some of the past results he has had down the main straight. It's a 31.3. No doubt a sighter lap there for Locker. Just saying, a feel for the track, a feel for the surface, and of course having to contend, a lot of these drivers having to contend with severe heat and humidity in their own right. Ironic around this track is there's Rainbow back in the pits. Mondo in their run, there's Button as well, and three drivers yet to go out on track. Hirsch and the returning Take That Back riders has just made his way out for the moment.
Yep, so a lot of time's already come in, and Godfather still holding the lead at the moment by around about 4 tenths, and from there, that second down to 8th place. We're separated by 2.5 tenths, so very, very close in the early stages of this qualifying session. We've still got some more drivers to come around, one of them being Zafia, who is now making his way to the finish line. Let's see what he can produce in the Red Bull this season. It's a 30.4 and puts in P11. Just a few more drivers left to come round. We've got Button shortly, but first of all, Mongo back in Tier 3 this season on the medium tyres to start with this evening. Let's see where he can put the mediums. And he's going to put the medium tyres on a 30.3, which puts him up to P10, which is not a bad lap, it has to be said, on the medium tyres. Just an interesting thing that I'd like to point out with the circuit on this game. I've found myself that you can really ride the curbs a lot more around Bahrain, and it'll be interesting to see if we've got drivers taking turns 6 and 7 absolutely flat out. If you have the right amount of turning, you can definitely take those corners flat out, and you can even gain around 2 or 3 tenths by not lifting through there, as we then see Button in the Mercedes just pipping Godfather at the moment on pole position with a 28.9, the first driver into the 28s. And we've also got Delta in the chat saying hey, before obviously now on his first run in the Aston Martin. I think that's Jet Undisputed in the chat saying that he misses us, guys, because he is going to be moving up to Tier 2 this season. Obviously, our P2 man in the Championship in Season 10 is going to be moving up. But, we'll see how he does, obviously, on Wednesday nights this season. And just seeing if anyone else is coming out onto their second runs. We have got a few drivers on their second runs. One of those being LIG Josh, one of the 2 Joshes we've currently got in the field tonight. As you'll see, Fat Joshy 2005 in the Kick Sauber for tonight. He's coming in as a reserve, so he's up in 6th at the moment. But here comes LIG Josh. Was quite quick come the end part of last season. Let's see what he can now produce. He was 3 temps up through Sector 2, and if it's anything to go by, it should put him up into the top 5. And it does. It puts him P4 for now, a 129.1, just behind Zafia, who looks like went on a second lap and put his Red Bull P3.
Yeah, quite a lot of times improving, but equally times very close in the midfield. David Lawface there on a 29.6, covered by about 2 tenths up to Eagle in 5th. That's 6 cars, and then equally Zafir and Josh on a second run, just behind Godfather by less than a tenth in their own rights. So again, we're definitely seeing a couple of field splits already. Dynamo Dan has seen improve up to 30.2, and someone else improved. I believe that would have been Greders on their first run at a 29.6. There goes one of our new drivers as well, that being a Mr. Fat Joshy, not to be mistaken for LIG Josh, but that'll be that's going to be fun when they two are fighting for position. We're going to have to go with the actual car that they are driving, not by their username. But we'll need to try and get them back in the session as quickly as we can, because with 9 minutes left, we now approach the time where everyone either gets a sighter lap or gets a final prep lap before the run-in to qualifying. As J Undisputed has, obviously, as you say, Mountain Kurt says, I miss you guys. We'll miss you too on track for Monday nights, but good luck for the Wednesdays. It's also decided to annoy one of his co-drivers, being Mr. Silverside Boy, saying, will you guys back me to get a Tier 2 victory before him? Anything's possible. That's all I'll say, but Tier 2 is raring and ready to go on Wednesday nights, yourself included, Monkey Boy Kurt, which you need to obviously wait until Wednesday 8 PM UK time, when on the twitch.tv/FPRL Racing League, our FPRL Twitch channel, we will stream all of our races in Season 11 live. Monday night, obviously, the Tier 3s, Wednesday, the Tier 2s, and Friday night, the Tier 1s. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, the weather is a little bit more, shall we say, manageable in terms of heat on Wednesday night. I think it is, mate. I think it's meant to be, but if you're in like Madrid or something, you are going to get fried and cooked throughout the week. It's maybe like sub 30 degrees throughout the week. Who else are we looking for? Improvement. Mondo in another prep lap, a 30.3. And I think Mondo is one of these drivers who is very reliant on confidence. Right, when they have a good run of races, it shows, but equally, when they have a bad run of races, it's difficult to get out that rut. So for Mondo, we probably would hope to get the season off to a good note. I would imagine maybe a points finish for the Williams driver tonight, and of course Hirsch, a former champion in his own right of FPRL, down in 17th, a bit out of place for him, but trying to rekindle some old form. Mondo getting ready for his run. Leonardo about to finish a run, take that back. That was another prep lap there for the returning Sauber driver from season 10. So he's going to go for another run. 7 minutes left, probably the wiser for the Sauber. There's David on his run, is up by a tenth and a bit. And Silverside Boy throwing shade at me. He says he would have had a victory, but some Scottish bloke stopped that. I wonder who that was, Cruiser. Was it by any chance at Baku last season? I don't recall. As far as I know, I'll be seeing you on Friday. David actually abandoning that run, so not too happy with that middle sector, it seems, there for the RB. Partnered up tonight with his good friend Fish Sticks. And we've seen in pre-season reforming the Fish Face train. Sheriff Woody would like to know less of that because it's not a fun experience. Speaking of Sheriff Woody, on another run now as the Alpine driver, but judging by the Delta, he's going to try and aid a slipstream here to his teammate Godfather, who's still sitting pretty in the front row. But still keep an eye out here to what they can do compared to Button. Fish Sticks up in 5th. Gregor's on another run, just starting out there as I can see the Ferraris down in 9th and 15th. And a team that you need to keep an eye on, I think, this season. They're definitely capable of a result, but they just need, everyone does, they just need that little ounce of luck to go their way. But keep an eye out on some of these drives tonight, because we're looking like this midfield is going to be very, very entertaining. Still no word though yet on the Sauber of Fat Joshy, as his teammate Leonardo just went to 5th until Mondo decides I'll have 4th.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Cruz, if we have him added, I don't know if the lobby tonight is on friends only, and if so, you can be able to get back in. I currently don't have him added, I don't know if you do.
I'll definitely I can't exactly throw him one over now, can I? But well, that's why we say to add profiles before the race. So if you don't, that's unfortunate. As well seen the slipstream worked for one of the Alpines. Godfather takes back provisional pole for about 5 seconds. Button just says just said, that's cute, here's what I can do. A 128.492. And they stretched that margin from what was about a tenth to 3. So, Godfather, you're going to need to pull something out the hat here to beat that. But good luck regardless. And still the only 2 drivers in the 28s so far.
Yeah, that was a mental lap there from Button. I mean, that's really kind of pulled him away from the rest of the pack. That is extremely, what's that? It's 5 tenths, more than 5 tenths ahead of P3. So definitely an impressive lap there. Just got some other people coming around on their second runs, and a few coming to the line now. One of them being the Haas of TTV Rage Quit, another new driver we have got for this season, who was 2 tenths up through Sector 2. What's it going to be through Sector 3? It's going to be 2 tenths. It does put him up to P8, and it's very, very close now between sort of the mid-pack. We're looking at 6th, 7th, right down to around 15th, about 2 tenths separating them. But Button with that time of a 28.492, really, it's going to take a lot for anyone to beat that. Zafir is on an outlap in P3 and may try and have a go at it, but that's a very impressive time. I don't know, Cruz, I might just try and see if Fat Joshi needs an invite. And no, there we go. He is back in, so we're all good. And hopefully he can get out just in time for one final run. It looks like the Ferrari of Dynamo Dan wasn't able to improve too much on his second run, but he will be back in and he will be able to go out again for one more run. There is, I think, only one driver at the moment out on a fast lap And that is, as I see at the moment, it's Delta 2, who is currently down in P18. Let's see what he does through Sector 2. He's down by a 1/10.5, but he has got a whole 63% of battery. So let's see how much of that he can use coming down this straight before the main straight. And he doesn't want to lose all of it before the finish line, and that's what he's done now. So he'll come to the line, and he's not going to have time to come in the pits and get out again. So is it going to be an improvement? No, it's not. And that's going to be his qualifying done. P18 at the best for Delta 2. Major Allen up in P9 actually, so that's not a bad time from Allen. He's going to go out now on his final run of the session. And just looking now down the field, have we got any other drivers that we can see that are coming close to the end of their laps? I think they're out on out laps. We've got David Lowface out on his out lap. We've got Fish Sticks out on their out lap. So the next driver we're going to see cross on a competitive lap time, I think, is going to be Sophia in that Red Bull. Just looking down the order, it's going to be Eagles out on a lap as well in P11. So the two Red Bulls now going to be the next ones to set new times, hopefully improved times, but it will be their final runs of the session, as they will not have time to get around for one more run. We'll see Eagle now coming towards the end of Sector 2. Is he going to be up on his time? Well, 1:29.4. He currently is around a 1/10.5 up. That's going to push him, though, up to around about P6 if he can have the same Sector 3 as what he did on his previous run. And everyone is out now of the pits for their final runs, either on fast laps or out laps. So we'll see what Eagle does. And then we will hand back to Cruiser for the end part of this session. Eagle comes across the line, goes up to P6, 2 tenths faster, a 1:29.2. It's not a bad effort for Eagle on his return to FPRL. And now Cruiser, we look to see what the rest of the guys can do.
That we do, and obviously the objective's clear for Beat Button. A 28.4 is the benchmark. What have you got to offer? And the first one to challenge that is going to be Sophia, but the Alpines better get a riddle on here and hurry up, as Rage Quit has called it in the pit lane. They are not going to improve from 9th, which is so annoying considering they were as close as they are to Leonardo, 1,000th between the Sauber and the Haas. Major Allen in 10th, if he stays there, he'll be happy with that. But that midfield is mighty, mighty close. Half a second covers 3rd down to 15th. So let's just wait and see what, first off, if the Alpines will make it, and that answer should be yes. Once again, Sheriff Woody playing back up to Godfather, looking to get himself a slipstream and see what he can do for his teammate. Fish Sticks improves up to 6th. So now as the Alpines begin their run, Zafir is halfway around his final run. Keeping an eye out through the pack as well. There's an Aston Martin looking to complete a lap. That should be Rainbow. Delta doesn't improve, as we said. Locker down at the back will want improvements also. Zafir is up by 1/10.5 around the middle sector. Still not enough to better 3rd, but will at least increase the gap behind him and make it a bit more tougher for everyone else to beat him. But of course, Mondo and Josh, they're so close to that Red Bull. Eagle as well, don't count him out, neither the Sheriff or even Leonardo as well. Zafir, will he break into the 28s? The answer is yes. A lightning final sector. Doesn't quite beat Godfather, but 4 tenths of a margin back to the Williams. Who else is there to improve? Eagle does not improve. He's in the pits. Sheriff Woody is up marginally, but he's got to be careful. So does Godfather, not to get too close to his teammate and gets some horrible dirty air. That will compromise him in the final sector. Leonardo does not improve. Joshy around the final corner. Will he break into the 28s? The answer is yes. And a 28.4. This track ramping up quickly. The Tattoo Star pulls out a lap to go 5th. Button goes even faster. But what about the Alpines? Godfather's up by a 1/4 of a second, and if he does get on pole position here, he owes his teammate a big thank you, but it goes a bit wide at the final corner. Not any amount of battery left. Use the slipstream, use whatever's left, use the DRS. It's 1:28.4. He's just missed it. That fine improvement for Button was more than enough. If he didn't improve, Godfather would have done it by 1/100th of a second, but it's 300ths in hand for Button. Sheriff Woody 7th, Josh doesn't improve, Dredders improves up to 9th, and the last one to cross the line should be not David Lawface because he's hit the pit board. But that is it for qualifying. Locker improves to go 16th. That mid-pack, as close as it is, the Tattoo Star will be happy with 6th, but the standout of qualifying, arguably, the Sauber, maybe, of Fat Joshy, but regardless, Button, first blood for the Mercedes.
Yeah, it's a very good quality session to start the season off. Button just basically taking off where he finished last season in terms of quality pace, and he takes another pole position in Tier 3, just pips Godfather by 28 thousandths. But the question we're all been asking, and we asked it a lot last season, is can Button now deliver in the race? And we're going to see that very soon. But yeah, a very interesting quality session there. Right down, if we're looking at from around about P5, right down to P14, we're looking at around about half a second. So it is very close in this tier at the moment. There's a few drivers down the back, which I would expect to be a little bit higher. Dynamo down in the Hirsch looking like I didn't get their best laps in. Loco with a 29.8 maybe was expecting a bit more. And David Lowface also down in P15, who has now left the session. I don't know if that was planned or if there is going to be some form of
Yeah, we're restarting.
Oh, we are restarting.
David's announced it in our Discord. We are restarting. So everyone, sound set might be potentially server settings. I'm not too sure, but unless something's been found out or I don't know, something's happened. But regardless, we are going to have a lobby reset for our season opener. So everyone, leave the lobby, obviously. And when the new one is up, we should let you know. And yep, reasons untold, seems like it. So, and I see Hirsch has decided to go for the provisionally wet weather compound tyres. So don't think you'll need them around the desert. But let's head to the main menu section of the game and wait for the lobby to be up. In the meantime, though, it means we've got a lot of time to reflect, chat, and have a conversation with our Twitch chat and ourselves, Monkey Boy chat. First time since the new game dropped that we have actually shared the commentary box and even shared the same lobby together. Because I didn't really do much in the pre-season. I think, one race where it was across all divisions and competed, and I think there was one tier social race. So fair to say I'm a little bit rusty ahead of Friday night's grand finale to our week in Bahrain. As let's see, yep, lobby should be open, so everyone join off of David Lawface and we'll get going. Never mind, turns out it's just me. Well, at least I'm here early. So I'll need to throw an invite out to some of our non-Xbox players. And I should be said to FPRL, recently we have opened the door to everyone to join the league. We're talking PlayStation, which in the case of Dreaders, you're talking PC in the case of lights of Dynamo Dan, Josh, Godfather, and of course Xbox being the mainstay go-to platform that is superior. I mean, the one that we usually use. So hopefully that's everyone from cross platforms invited. That should be it. So, Twitch chat, in the meantime, what do you want to talk about? The Tattoo Star saying we missed you guys. Good luck tonight. And Major Allen with a quick chime and a hello as well. Good evening to you, Major Allen. Quite competitive qualifying, must be said for him. But I think he'll still be happy, all things regardless. So, as I boy in the chat as well as Mr. Steel London. Taken to the track soon enough as... there we go, got a couple of invites. Delta's asked thoughts on Austria, of course, the race at the weekend. I thought for what it was an okay race. It was a quiet race, but it certainly had its fun. But I think we were denied a little bit towards the mid stages.
Yeah, it was a very good start to the race. Obviously, Piastri and Norris fighting well, and it was a good battle. Obviously, a very interesting first lap with Antonelli and Verstappen. But yeah, going into the middle part, it kind of was just a race of a bit easy in the end for Norris. Obviously, Piastri didn't really get near him in the end. Obviously, Colapinto almost had him in the wall as well. That was quite funny at some point. I also just want to point out that Steele has said that my mic is completely effed, and I don't know if that's still the case. So someone can just confirm in the chat if it's too loud or it sounds okay. But it's fixed.
I think it's fixed. I think it's fixed.
Hey, there we go.
Steele said that was about 3 years ago and said it's fixed. That's good. Major Allen's got a couple of the cavalry in the pit garage tonight to help him out. Obviously doing his best run of Sunny Haze. And actually, I'm going to segue into that. Obviously, recently the F1 movie. Right. Obviously, recently the F1 movie has hit the theatres across the world. I went to go and see that on. I'm planning to go and see that, but I think I've read a lot of reviews and it's a mixed bag. That's to say the very least.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. It's just not going to ruin it for anyone, but there are definitely some things that happen that would not happen in real F1. But it is a film after all, so I guess you're going to expect that. So
Hollywood's not Hollywood. So suppose we'll see. We said we'd have a 5-minute interval. It looks like we're going to have more than that. So in the meantime, for our drivers, if you can join up the lobby ASAP, and we'll get going once more. Remember your setups and don't ready up before you see the countdown appear on screen. Said we would have a 5-minute interval, but that will now be reduced down to 3 minutes when we load into the game. Looks like everyone is here. Just David to select his car, and then we can get the grid ready and be on our way. Hopefully we can get back and get qualifying results. Should have probably screenshotted it for times like this, but oh well. Tattoo Star says that he's seen it and it was a good watch. I suppose that's what it is. I think if I was to see or to compare the F1 movie to like Gran Turismo that came out a few years ago, I'd say both of them are in the same bag for me. They're a movie that I've watched, but I wouldn't watch it again. You know, you've seen it.
Yeah, that's it. We're waiting on Fat Joshy. I think he needs an invite, so we will just see if we can.
I've got him as a friend. I'll listen to you, friend. If you see a name, wave in the Twitch chat. There you go. Alright, should be that. Still saying that he's seen it and it's played it in the game and it's mid. Well, I think it's to be a common occurrence actually. Hopefully Joshy can get in the lobby. There we go. There we go. And that is our grid full. So we can get the grid ready and set. But a lot of lap, by the way, for the Sauber driver. He's not even at... Just for the record, Josh is actually sitting in for a nasty flick tonight. And to get 4th, he might have actually found himself getting the old Flavio treatment of... At least if he was at Alpine, to get the Flavio treatment. Right, you're out, you're in. But in the meantime, all we can do is impress is our rookie. What else we have in the chat? We got an... anything else we want to talk about? Anything else? I could talk wrestling, but I don't want to be called out for what I am, which would be true. I would deserve every bit of flack that I would get from it.
Delta's put another question in the chat. Kimi Antonelli's penalty, do you think it's too lenient after the crash with Max? I think he's got a 3-place grid penalty for Silverstone.
I think it's fair.
I think it is fair just because it's a lap 1 incident. I think
Yeah,
if it was any other point of the race and it was not sort of cars all around, I think obviously would have been more. But yeah, I wouldn't say it is lenient.
There's no malice in what he'd done. It's just an experience.
Yeah.
Seen a gap, went for it, and it was one of those crap hit the brakes moments. But obviously, just Max was in the collateral and very nearly Liam Lawson, which. I mean, to be fair, Liam, he actually drove well for what it was. 1-stop race, he ended up 6th. So, can't complain with that. He needed that race, given how his season's gone. Delta's saying that he believes in Joe Hendry. Sorted. Say his name and he appears. Jay and the Spirit's asking for a prediction in the Tier 3 Championship. Ooh.
It's a very difficult one after one quali session, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, you have your favourites. You definitely have your favourites. You're looking towards maybe like Fish Sticks, Josh. You're looking maybe an outside run.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to look at drivers that have also come back down and come back into racing in the tier. So obviously Mongo's come back into Tier 3. He's very good on his day. Same with Eagle. He's been very quick in previous games and previous seasons, so you got to look at those two. Obviously Button, you know, after that quali, but we always ask that question. He probably hates me for always asking it, but is he going to be able to perform in the races? And hopefully tonight we're going to see a decent performance where you can convert a pole to victory. But yeah, I guess we'll just see how the season progresses. It's quite a hard one to say at the moment. If I had to pick one now, I'm going to go with
Johnny B.
No, actually no. I'm gonna go Godfather. I'm going to go Godfather. There you go.
Now, we apologise in advance for the turbulence at the Alpine camp. It's called Commentary Curses. If you've not had one yet, you're going to get one soon. Tattoo Star says he's not a favourite. How rude. If I were to compare you to a driver, Star, you would be the Nico Hulkenberg of Tier 3. So, you are a solid driver. And that's about as far as I can go. You are a driver that's going to give it your all in the day and chip away here and there. Steele's then upped Tattoo Star's self-esteem with pitching in for the championship with a £5 on it. I'll send you my PayPal. I'll send you a PayPal. I'll give you 20 if Star wins this. There's your incentive. I've got in the chat. Good evening. Cactus, how's the Spain set up? Well,
I've got a good one for Steele. If Tattoo wins a championship, you have to get a tattoo of the tattooed star on your arm.
You literally just get literally a star and just say tattoo on it.
Yeah, literally.
Jan the Spirit says compare Alan to a real driver. Oof.
That's a great question.
There is so much grey area in what you've asked here, Jay. But I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna say, at least from the pre-season, Major Allen has found his way towards, I'd say, Oliver Behrman level. Qualifies at the back, but he fights his way through the order. At least off of the pre-season.
Oh, Gary's put Mava here, who in a Rowan Nathan.
Yeah, Mahavir Vergunathan. Tell you what, Alan, you've got plenty of friends in the Twitch chat.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
It's going off. That question from Jay has really got people talking. So I think it's a great question, to be fair.
Yeah, Major Allen's gave us 2 cents to Jay, so, I'm not even surprised.
But, yeah, as we're waiting, just for the race start, it's going to be interesting to see what tyres the drivers decide to go on, because as we know, on the new F1 25 game, the tyre wear is a lot more around certain tracks. So we're probably going to see some 2 stops tonight, where we wouldn't have seen that at all on the old game unless there was some safety cars. So it's going to be interesting to see if strategy plays a big part in the races this season. Are we going to see people starting on all 3 compounds of tyres just to spice it up a bit in the strategy? It'd be good to see, but I really do think that the pack is going to be really bunched up, especially, obviously, we saw the quali just then. 2 temps, I think, between 5th and 14th. So hopefully we're going to see a really, really good race. It will be coming soon, and we'll soon see as well what tyres people have chosen. But Cruiser, if you were racing tonight, what would you be starting on?
I don't know. Tyre wear around here is going to be bad. But the 1 stop's possible. It's just a stretch. The 2 stops going to be safer, but you need to make up, I'd say, about 23 seconds off of a pit stop, which is a lot of time, obviously, to make up. You need to, if I'm correct, you need to make up about 2 seconds a lap if you're pitting within the final 10, 5-10 laps. So you need to, it's going to have to be nothing but qualifying pace here on out. Jay, reserve that for a safety car question, because that's actually going to be a fun one. So Steele's carrying on from Jay's previous question of compare Major Allen to a driver. But there's no more time for comparisons. There's going to be one undisputed fact, and that is in 29 laps time we will have our first winner of the season, and we are underway for the very first time in season 11, and that was a good start there for Godfather. Already side by side with Button in towards turn 1. The mid-pack, as we expected, getting bunched up as there is a Sauber sleeping in turn 1, and that's a massive crash involving Leonardo. doing exactly what Antonelli did at the weekend, and the poor casualty of Godfather, a passenger, took out by the Salbers, and already a virtual safety car. Button has just seen a war zone inflicted behind him, and he is counting his lucky stars.
Well, that's a comms curse if you've ever seen it for Godfather. I have to apologise profusely for that because he's out before the first
Welcome
corner.
back, everyone.
But yeah, that was Leonardo. Obviously, went to press the brakes, and if he's got 3 pedals, he's pressed the clutch because he just didn't stop. And that is an absolute massive smash into turn 1. I thought he actually went over his teammate, Fat Josh, who's up into P3 following that retirement from Godfather. But yeah, Rainbow's now retired as well from the session. I don't know what's happened there.
I think Rainbow's actually crashed. I think Rainbow might have actually hit the back of Rage Twit. Everyone bunching up at turn 10, and Rainbow just didn't expect it. Slams into the back of the Haas. And we have got 2 casualties already, and we're not even done with the first lap, and somehow there is a blank patch around the final corner where there's no yellow flags. That's OCD. But regardless, Leonardo and Josh, both of which have got 10-second penalties and an abundance of carbon fibre littered around turn 1, as we're agreeing that we are back underway, if you want to call it that, for our opening lap, which has seen a fair share of chaos, and in no shortage, the Salbers have paid the price for it. A cracking qualifying, but a terrible start to their championship campaign, which also sees Josh in to serve his 10-second penalty. Button leads by a second over the Tattoo Stars. Zafir up in the third now. Sheriff Woody in fourth, and I said he's like Oliver Behrman. Major Allen started, if I'm correct, no lower than 14th on the grid, already up in the top 5, right behind the Sheriff. Mondo's dropped down to 6th place. Could have been far worse, to be fair. Fish Sticks, Dreaders, Locker and Eagle in the top 10, with Hirsch, David, Dynamo Dan jockeying away with Delta, and there's more places exchanged as Hirsch gets ahead of Eagle, and Dreaders himself trying to fend off Locker. Two wise heads of the lead. Dreaders on his way back to the lead, Locker on his way back up the order. Started 17th, now 9th Hirsch, or tell I, 16th up to 9th for Locker. Hirsch 18th up into the points, and the biggest losers at the start, along with the biggest winners, you would argue is no doubt Godfather, judging by the fact they are out of the race, but equally Josh, no, of course, there it is. Both the Salvers and the Williams of LIG Josh, the 3 big casualties in terms of still going in this race, limping probably after that opening lap. Button 2.5 seconds clear of Zafir, who's got ahead of the Tattoo Star, and the order is as you were, heading around to complete the first racing lap of the season. Jumping on board with the Alpine of Sheriff Woody, that Mercedes behind him looming large for Major Allen, using a bit of that battery, using the DRS, which is now activated on lap 3, as there's a Tattoo Star just ahead, looking for the move, filters back in line around turn 1, looks to get the better exit up turn 3 in towards turn 4. Jump on board now with the McLaren, keeping an eye further back. Dreaders 3 seconds behind Mondo in what is already a tale of 3 in the field. Button streaming clear. Then you got this battle further back for second place, and another yellow flag. Dynamo Dan's lost it at turn 3, and for the first time this season we welcome Burnt Mylander and the safety car. Dynamo Dan still suffering on his new setup, and it's fair to say he's had better nights, along with quite a few drivers actually for that matter. But all the work that Button has done has now been undone, and for the likes of Fish Sticks, Dreaders in that mid-pack express, they can now bunch back up to the field.
Yeah, LIG Josh also retired in the pits. I'm not sure why. He had a 10-second penalty, but obviously we've got a safety car now, so he'll be able to catch up to the back of the field. So not sure on that one. So we've got 4 retirements in the first 3 laps. Leonardo will now take P16 and eventually will obviously bunch up to the back of the safety car queue. So just to confirm, Godfather out on the first corner, Rainbow out around the half the first lap. And then Josh retired in the box. Dynamo Dan's lost it almost where, well, actually, no, pretty much where Nikita Mazepin lost it in his first F1 race a few seasons ago. But yeah, the 2 Salbers will be at the back, Fat Joshy and Leonardo. And we've got 1 penalty now amongst the field. That's Rage quitting 14th, got a 3-second already. But interestingly, who is going to box here? We've got quite a few drivers on different tyres. Button is into the box. We've also got Zafir and Sheriff Woody. Also, Mongo into the box. He's on the soft tyres. Greg has got a 10-second time penalty there. David Loleface will surely see in. A lot of drivers into the pits. But obviously, we've got a few hard runners. Two drivers, in Fish Sticks and Major Allen, who obviously will stay out. But Tactic Star also stays out and picks up the safety car. So at the moment, we've got Button, Zafir, everyone going for the hard tyre, apart from Delta 2 and David Loleface, who are going for the mediums. But can they get the hards to the end of the race is the question. That's going to be 24 laps, and we know what tyre wear is like on the game. I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to see them get to the end, but it will be interesting for sure. And yeah, I guess we'll go back to the safety car question that we had. That Jade posed before the race started.
Yeah, we'll need to head back through the archives of our Twitch chat. And of course, Jay Undisputed actually pitched in with the question of, for the comms team, compare each other to a driver, or just to a driver. I decide for you, Monkey Boy Kurt, and you decide for me. This is going to be interesting. I think the obvious one for me would be Paul di Resta or David Coulthard, but I'll leave that up to you. If it were for Austria, I'd say Eddie Irvine, just for the obvious.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Because obviously we're in tiers, so one tier you might be at the front, sort of winning all the races, and then you might go up into a higher tier and obviously be towards the middle of the back. So because. Yeah, I mean, the obvious one probably would be David Coulthard, because there was points of his career where he was winning races, and then points of his career where he was more in the mid-pack in the Red Bull and everything. So I guess we'd go with that one. If we're going to go with one that's currently on the grid, I would potentially go with... it's going to be an interesting one, to be honest. We've been in the league now quite a few seasons, so... could go with someone like... No, it's kind of, like I say, it's quite a tricky one. Joel, we'll leave it at that. We'll go with David Coulthard. I think that's probably the best one to go with.
Yeah, it's the obvious one. Waving the Zoltar, repping at the Scots. As for you, I know that you've been to and fro with Tier 2 and Tier 1, but if I were to go with a current driver, I don't know, I would maybe... No, I think... I'm going to go... I'm going to be nicer. I'm going to say Pierre Gasly.
To be fair, that was the kind of same one I thought for you if I was going to go for.
Yeah, able to pull out a shot, but is always able to get somewhere with what they're given.
Yeah, I would go with that.
I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say Pierre Gasly, mainly because I don't know who to compare you to from seasons yonder without sounding like a... complete the sentence. So lap 5 under a safety car for our opening round in the Tier 3 Championship. Of course, thank you everyone for tuning in through our Twitch stream, currently sitting at... If I can... There we go. Currently sitting at what was about 20 viewers strong. But everyone tuning in, thank you for chipping in with your support to FPRL to get us to our 11th campaign on the Formula 1 games. And of course, we'll continue your support. Hit the follow button, twitch.tv/FP Racing League. 3 races for your viewing, certainly viewing pleasure this evening, with no shortage of bedlam and chaos on just the opening 5 laps of our Tier 3 Bahrain Grand Prix. Hit the follow button, on our way to 1,000 followers obviously on the Twitch channel, and if you want to join FPRL, no better time to do it because we have just started the campaign. Nightbot drops a link to our Discord server through our Twitch chat. Of course, away we have our engagement with the viewers, and I'm just going to ignore this real quick. I am actually going to leave us on this camera angle because this is actually quite nice. Nightbot drops a link to our Discord server through our Twitch chat. Hit the link that Nightbot gives, to our recruitment server. Complete the sign-up steps, and we'll have you in ahead of the remainder of Season 11. Of course, if you are quick enough, both in more than one sense, you can actually get in ahead of our Tier 2 race Wednesday. I need to know my dates. Actually, be the 2nd. Jesus, we're in July already. My goodness. The 2nd of July, and of course Friday, July 4th, where we head to the Bahrain circuit for Tier 1. Oh no. There's a certain name that's appeared in the Twitch chat. Mr. Biddle, good evening to you, my friend. It's been quite a while, and this is going to go one way very, very quickly. But still, welcome Biddle. You've missed out quite the chaos at the start with 4 casualties, and LIG Josh saying in the chat that his setup didn't save from changing to the police station and choosing the tyres and got 20 seconds for no reason. Not ideal there for Josh. Hopefully bounces back next time out, which could be a sprint race around certainly one of the most famous tracks in the world. That's all I'm going to say. But sprint race around the figure 8. So that's your subtle clue as to what we're doing next week in FPRL. But of course, it's all about the here and now. And for the Tattoo Star, this is going to be a very unfamiliar territory for the McLaren, leading the pack on the first safety car restart of the season. We jump on board with the McLaren, ready, steady, thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He's just going to hold this off right to the very end, as there's Major Allen getting punchy, looking to get their launch off the line as the Tattoo Star's thinking about it, waiting for it, activates the battery and punches it down it towards turn 1, trying to break the slipstream from the Major, and immediately Eagle trying to challenge Fist Sticks in towards turn 1. Button holding position, of course. Button, the lead car, who has made a pit stop under the safety car. The Tattoo Star goes through. Major Allen on those cold tyres goes a bit wide there at turn 1, compromising turn 2 and then turn 3. But I'm judging by the fact that the top 4 are going for a one-stop race, but they've got to make the most of this restart and hope the field behind them starts squabbling and fighting, which is what Hirsch. Eagle is just clear of Button, and there goes Hirsch, Sheriff Woody and Zafir having their own little battle in towards turn 6. Down the inside goes Hirsch, but Sheriff Woody holds it round the outside. Now the inside for turn 7 in towards turn 8. The McLaren not giving up, wanting to hold on to 6th place, but equally he can't afford to lose too much time for Button, as Edo Safir are looking for a cutback around the outside. There's another yellow flag, and that is Gregors, who has lost it around turn 8, as Sheriff Woody has got ahead of Hirsch, and Zafir filters back in line to 8th place. Looking to get now the slingshot out of turn 10, on board with Mondo. Down towards turn 10, Hirsch, Zafir, Mondo still in that order, and the top 5 as you were, but Eagle starting to suffer a little bit, falling into the clutches of that Mercedes, who's on the fresher tyres, and Mondo around the outside of Zafir at turn 11. Fantastic from the Williams driver. I mentioned he needed confidence to be on good form, and that'll do him a world of good.
Yeah, great racing on that opening lap. Sheriff Woody brilliant round the outside of Hirsch, going through 6 and 7 and makes the place stick in P6. Fish Sticks gets a 3-second penalty out in P3, and we've also got just like Locker there trying to get some heat in the tyres back in P11. But yeah, a really good start back up to this race, and Major Allen still in P2. But Tattooed Star has got out of a DRS, and you would expect that, him being on the medium tyres, but also with the tyre wear in this game, they're probably going to drop off very, very soon. Button now around about a second and a bit ahead of Sheriff Woody. He is the net leader at the moment as it stands, but Hirsch, what a race he's had so far. He's up by 11 positions from 18th to P7, and he's stopped. So at the moment, Hirsch having a great race, having a good battle with Mongo and Zafir there. Looks like he's got himself now back up to P7, and he'll want to try and stay within the DRS of Sheriff Woody. Sheriff Woody now gained a few tenths on Button. It looks like he's getting held up a bit behind Eagle, and he does get back into the DRS. Leonardo with another 3-second penalty out the back in P15, and obviously as we saw Gregors go around at the back, he's now going to try and fight his way back into the field and hopefully get back into a DRS train. But the question now is for these top 4 drivers, when do they pit? And Major Allen and Fishits can obviously go a bit longer, but don't know at this stage. Can the other guys make the hards work? It's going to be a big ask, but we might be able to see it as we now go into lap 9 of this race.
And have a look in the Twitch chat. Of course, we have little incentive and engagement in our Twitch chat just to keep the viewing experience a little bit more fresh and, I say, somewhat exciting. It's miserable for the commentators because we have incentives to make the commentary do an impression or a catchphrase. That's going to be within reason. Zero's Leonardo making a move on the debuting Rage Twit towards the back. These two actually having a little bit of a ding-dong here and towards turn 1. Having a go there is Leonardo, but Rage Twit holds it around the outside, but that's their compromising towards turn 3. And Leonardo, with the better tyres, he did pit on lap 1 and is up now into 14th place, carrying a penalty, however, but not as bad as Delta, who's carrying front right end plate damage. Meanwhile, Tattoo Star, he did have that DRS broken to Major Allen, but now Allen's found himself back in range. And importantly for these two, these three, Fishstick's holding on as well, but is on that 3-second time penalty. Eagle is just and no more in DRS range and is starting to back up the drivers who have made their pit stop. So Button looking to get a move on here, and Major Allen, he's certainly learned a thing or two in his short tenure as Button's teammate, up in second place, staying out under the safety car, and is working so far for the Mercedes driver. Biddle has redeemed said commentator catchphrase or impersonation to yourself, Monkey Boy Chart, who wants to hear an impression of Collateral Ads. As further back, David and Locker, these two, no stranger to one another, as David gets the elbows out on Locker. Not today, he says. And Locker will feel a bit hard done by there. But David, aggression at its finest from David, no taking any prisoners, is that RB. He's up now into 11th place. Still 3 seconds back from the points as Edo is actually in the pits for the second time tonight. That's not front wing damage, is it? No, that is a scheduled pit stop. Leonardo's gone. That, I would imagine, is tyre hooking between Leonardo and Delta in a virtual safety car, which is going to limit the damage here for Edo. And it's going to save him, I'd say, about 6 seconds in time. But yeah, that is a terrible ending for Leonardo. But it just shows, if you rub tyres in any Formula 1 game, there's one way you're going, and that is going to be a physics ball to the Shadow Realm, and Leonardo might have found himself in hospital with whiplash.
Yeah, that Eagle was pitted at just the right moment there. He's now on fresh hards, which can probably go to the end. Could that be Eagle potentially in a really good position to have a real good shot at winning this race? Obviously, we did see Locker getting tapped around by David Lolface, and if he was Collateral Ads, his reaction to that would have been, "Oh mate," but yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a bit of words between those two afterwards, but he just about failed to hope it together. But yeah, I actually think the Eagle is really pitted there at a really good time. It's very, very, very. It's felt the right time. Leonardo crashing and bring out the virtual safety car. I don't know if they can get those hards to the end, the other guys, and if they do, they're going to be really, really worn. Is anyone going to take the opportunity now to come into the box? They're not. Tattoo Star stays out.
Oh, there's movement for
again.
I seen movement there for one of the McLarens, and that was harsh, but he's just trying to break the slipstream here at Mondo and Zafir. Mondo does have the DRS. Hirsch has dropped out of range, and Mondo looking to get a little bit more confidence back in that Williams as Hirsch clouts the inside curb at turn 1. Mondo now around the outside. Hirsch will get the DRS though up towards turn 4 because he was behind at the detection line when Mondo made his overtake. Mondo drifting to the right. Hirsch says, okay, I'll go even further to the right. Down the inside he goes at turn 4. Mondo looking to do another switchback. Hirsch with a snap of oversteer, and Mondo up and under, up now into 6th place. Next up for them is the Alpine of Sheriff Woody. And I'm keeping an eye out as well. Obviously, Eagle did pit. Delta's in the pits as well, definitely for a front wing change. Joshy's carrying on, is on 9-lap old hards. Don't count out that other Sauber yet, he's not too out of sync. I say with the field, sorry, I'm distracted by the Twitch chat. G Undisputed has picked my poison. And I see you've made some enemies in the Twitch chat. They're demanding a refund for the impression that you made of our very own Collateral Ads. And just up and around the hill, the Tattoo Star doing very well to hold on to these medium tyres. Major Allen doing equally as well to hold on to the back of him. But the big question will be, what's going to happen at Mercedes? Is Allen and Button are not too far apart. who gets preference for what will be their next pit stop and what will be, for at least for the Major, his first pit stop and no doubt his last. Committing to a one-stop strategy, Button is on a two-stop. As we start lap 12, the Tattoo Star 4/10 of a second, 3/10 of a second, closing, not closing enough, as in towards turn 1, and that battery too is looking a little bit bleak here for the McLaren driver. I would imagine his pit stop window is very, very soon, as once again, round 2 between David and Locker, and towards turn 1, as you can see in the background there. David wins that one, this time without battering the side pod of the Haas and Major Allen. We saw it in Texas in the pre-season, that won't help him. 3 seconds to the Mercedes driver, and I think now, that's answered the question on preference.
Yeah, it's very impressive, I think, to see Alan still up there fighting. He's almost got the lead of this race. It's just whether or not maybe he's going to come out after he has to pit, obviously, and Range Quick gets another 3-second penalty. Bidley, to answer your truth in the chat, let's just say it got regular action every day. We'll just leave it at that. And but as we get back to the race in action, yeah, Button still holding on to the net lead at the moment. Sheriff Woody in P5 and Mongo now up to P6. Could be a fight between these three potentially for the race win, but it was still a long, long way to go. And Eagle now only 6 seconds off 13th place Gregor, so he's really coming back into this. And yeah, I really do still think that Eagle was just pitted at the right time. And as we're seeing some, and Button spun it.
Oh no! We were on board there with Josh. Button getting an oversteer moment at the final corner. Thankfully it's not done too much damage, but Major Allen now, without the DRS, he's dropped out of range, and there's more carbon fibre gone, and that is a front right end plate, and we got another pile up at turn 1. Major Allen punting Sheriff Woody into the path of fish sticks, and the Tattoo Star is just skipping away in a field of daisies right now. Seeing all the action unfold behind him, much like the start of the race which Button was involved in. Might have actually been a small blessing that Button got that oversteer. He didn't get caught up in it, but now down in 8th place. This race is really starting to liven up as now Mongo's up to 4th, but also on a time penalty. Fish sticks get back ahead of Major Allen. Doesn't have any damage as such as Mongo sends it late on Fish sticks, spins round himself and is losing a place now to Zafir, who's found himself up in 4th. Mind your own business, the race will fall to you. Down the inside goes Sheriff Woody at turn 10, making it work, is he? As Zafir is actually ghosted. Hopefully he's not disconnected from the session. It looks like it might have just been a slight mistake. Hopefully for the Red Bull. Thankfully he was ghosted, otherwise he'd have been blessed with an Alpine in that rear left tyre. But the Tattoo Star, with all that jockeying and jostling, that gap was 4/10, it's now nearly 4 seconds, and has got a clean slate of penalties. Surely this lap is his pit window, if anything. And now Sophia joins the 3-second club. Tattoo Star, get that team on the radio and say you're pitting this lap, because surely it is an incentive to do so, and he carries on. That might have been an open goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that for Tattooed Star. Maybe he thinks the tyres have got a bit more life in them. But yeah, I think now, next lap, he has to stop and he has to make sure that he gets close to Eagle as well. That's the person he wants to try and get out ahead of here, as we're seeing battles going around the whole of the track here. A lot of hopeful dives on that last lap. Hopefully he can be a bit cleaner going forward into the second half of the race, as Mongo now trying to eye up Sophia and get past, as we've got Mongo and Button now trying to fight his way back through the field. And he's actually fighting with Hirsch there, sorry, and stays ahead for now. But yeah, another mistake there from Button in the race, and that might have ruined his chances of this race win now. But Joshy also sticking with the pack in P8, but he's hard to 12 laps old. There are 2 more laps than the other people around him, so I'm not sure whether he's going to get them to the end. But Major Allen out onto the soft tyres. That is... yeah, I think you definitely should have gone for the mediums there. And what was at the time such a good race, or such a good first half to the race, now doesn't look like probably much is going to come from this, as he will need to stop again. Just looking at the gap between Tattooed Star and Eagle down in P13, just looking at that gap, and it is currently 19 seconds. So Tattooed Star, I think now, it's probably a good time to get into the box, and it is. Here he comes.
It's a no-brainer for him. Make sure you get within the limits of the pit lane. There you go. Kept that very safe there. Did the McLaren driver. Can't afford any mistakes. but he's got a nice cushion between Eagle and Major Allen that he's going to hopefully filter in, and there's the one stop confirmed for the McLaren driver. He will get out the pits behind Eagle. He should get out though ahead of Major Allen, which I think is a colossal mistake to commit to a 2-stop race, considering you managed the hards half distance. At least go a little bit longer and you'd have managed to get the mediums to the end, but Major Allen on said 2-stop, he will be hoping for a safety car to get himself back in action, and the gap between Edo and the Tattoo Star, shockingly, is only 20 seconds between the Tattoo Star and Fish Sticks. They're about 3 seconds ahead, so well done. 10 points to Gryffindor for me, saying a 23-second loss. On board with Rage Quit, having his own little tussle here with David Lawface. David on worn mediums, Rage Quit is on the worn hards. David will have to pit one more time. Rage Quit could technically get to the end, but it will be some effort to do so. Looking ahead, Fish Sticks is the only driver yet who hasn't made at least one pit stop. Leads by 7/10 over Sheriff Woody, and everyone now in this mid-pack, down towards Dreggers, is in the same boat. They have to pit again, unless they want to risk getting these tyres all the way to the end. Joshy in that commotion getting a 3-second penalty. We'll have a look at the penalties for that matter. A whole wall of 3 seconds inaugurating this season's 3-second club. Delta, Major Allen, Locker, Joshy, as we said, Zafir Mondo and Fish Sticks, who still carries on to start lap 16 of this race. The only driver yet to make their pit stop, as Aero's Button making the move on Zafir without said DRS, and Major Allen makes his job even more impossible. 6 seconds now for the Mercedes driver, who will need to pit himself one more time, not getting those softs to the end, as their Major. As there is actually Dreggers into the pits. So that's now his second stop, going to the end. He should get out though ahead of Delta, which would be important for him, given the fact he doesn't want any lap traffic, back marker traffic for Dreggers in his pursuit of points on his return to FPRL. On board with Hirsch, and certainly the standout performer in terms of recovery. 12 places he's gained from the opening lap, as I'm going to, in about a few seconds, redeem J Undisputed's impression or catchphrase, which he wants me to do at the end of a sentence. So Jay, this one's for you. I'm going to keep rambling as long as I can until I can't breathe anymore. As there's Sheriff Woody, still in range of Fish Sticks, but fair play to Fish Sticks. Not made his pit stop yet and is still keeping up this consistent pace, and Sheriff Woody's having flashbacks to about a week ago, staring at the back of that RB and wanting to make a good proper assault and hopefully not slam into the back of him, but equally he wants to see the back of Fish Sticks very quickly. You're welcome, Jay.
That was very subtle, and we did just about hear that, so well done, Cruiser. Fish Sticks into the box, surely going to be mediums now till the end, and 16 seconds between him and Eagle, so it's going to be interesting now because he is going to be on faster tyres than the Tattooed Star. And as he does pit, he's out, and now we will see where he will come out. And
be close.
He's going to be close. There goes Eagle. Here comes the Tattooed Star. The Tattooed Star is out in front, but Fish Sticks is on the medium tyres, the better tyres. There's a yellow flag somewhere, and oh no, we just got a yellow flag for a little tiny part there where the leaders are. That was a bit weird, but
quite rude.
Yeah, a little bit odd, but. Yeah, that's it. Now I'm thinking Fish Sticks looks the more promising driver because he's on the mediums and he'll have a lot more pace in these first 3 or 4 laps especially. But the Tattooed Star doesn't really look like he's gained a lot on Eagle since he's come out of the pits. And if we look at the gap between them, it's 3.4 seconds. He's only really gained about 2/10, so not an awful lot there has been gained. But as Eagle starts to wear down those hard tyres a bit more, you might start to see more of a gain. The question is now, though, everyone has made a stop. Can the guys out in front let these or get these hards to the end? They've still got to go another 12 laps, and I think it's going to be a big ask. But now the battle is between Sheriff Woody and Mongo, and Barton has just about got back into DRS range. Here goes Mongo. He will take the lead probably of the race on track, but he does have the penalty to his name as he now looks up to take a move on Sheriff Woody and doesn't go for it there. Oh, David Lowface gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's not going to like that, and that's probably going to see him right down the back with a 10-second, not the ideal thing you want to see. And yeah, Mongo once again having a look, just can't get past. And if we are looking at the penalties, Mongo's got 3. Then we look at Rage Quit in 5th, got 6. Locker's got 3. And obviously Fishstick's got 3 to his name. That's going to potentially hinder him getting some high points for the race. We could really see the guys like Tattooed Star, Eagle, Fishsticks really start to catch the top 6 as we get into the end part of the race, as they definitely, I would think at this stage, going to be trying to hang on to the tyres. They would probably want a safety car to come so they could get onto a nice set of softs till the end potentially. But Mongo obviously wants to make that move on Sheriff Woody, and then will have to try and pull a 3-second gap as it stands.
Let's look further back. Tattoo Star has made inroads to that Red Bull. That gap was, you say, 3.5. It's now 2.3. So Edo's got to watch these tyres very, very closely as... There we go. Fishstick's doing his best to keep up with the McLaren, try and make an overtake on the Tattoo Star. On those fresher mediums, he's got to use these while he can, when he can, because those tyres will fall off later on. As there, yep, Sheriff Woody and Mondo. At the same time, Button carries on. Surely Button is not thinking about going to the end, unless he's thinking about an overcut, but even at that, Button, he's got nothing to lose at this point. There is the Alpine being serviced, and equally is the Williams being serviced. Leonardo has left the session, but he is already out of the race. Tattoo Star goes through, so does Fishsticks, and so does... Where's Joshy going to be? Joshy's heading down towards turn 1. Sheriff Woody's ahead of him, but Joshy's not far behind Mondo. That might have actually been precautionary, or that's just a serious undercut that Joshy's made work out at least a little bit. There's that gap now, 1.8 seconds behind that Williams. But now we're in that stage of the race where everyone's got a lot of work to do if you're on a time penalty. And for the Tattoo Star, that RB you need to see the back of and stick to it, because he's now ahead of you. Fishsticks in 6th. Eagle, I would say technically, is a net leader of this race, but the top 4, can they get to the end with 11 laps to go, 15 lap old hards? It's going to be some stint if they can pull it off, but equally it'll be such a rewarding victory, or at least a rewarding result if they do.
Yeah, definitely. Button is 14 seconds ahead of Eagle. So if he was to pit now, he comes out behind Sheriff Woody. He'd probably come out around about where Mongo is. He is going to pit. Is Hirsch going to do the same? This has answered our question of whether they could take them to the end, and it doesn't look like they can. So it does look like we're now going to see the 2 Hasses lead the Grand Prix of Rage Quit and Locker, and Eagle is going to go up into P3, but is that going to be P4 as Fishsticks looks like he's really pumping up the speed now on those medium tyres, and he goes through now into 3rd. He has got the 3-second penalty though, and he doesn't want to overdo those tyres too quickly, otherwise they will go off towards the end of the race. The Tattooed Star is still making inroads on Eagle. He's now only 2 seconds behind, so slowly but surely is starting to catch up with the Red Bull. And yeah, at this stage, Locker's got a 3-second, Rage Quit's got a 6-second. They're not going to be winning this race, but are we going to see him come into the box maybe go for another maybe 1 or 2 laps and maybe get on a set of softs? That might be what their plan is, but they are, if that's the case, they're going to be coming out behind David Littleface, who's currently in P12. So you've got a gamble here. Do you try and stay out and grab a few points, or do you go on the softs and potentially risk not finishing in the top 10? It's a difficult one for these Haas boys, but they'll definitely be getting really eaten up by the likes of Fishsticks, Eagle, Tattooed Star, who are on much fresher tyres now. And Sheriff Woody also now coming up to the back of Tattooed Star, only 1.5 seconds behind.
Fishsticks, the biggest problem for him, not just the 3 seconds, can he get these tyres, at least keep some of these tyres in good nick and get to the end? The Tattoo Star 2.2 now behind Eagle, and Eagle himself 1.7 behind Fishsticks, who has rinsed a lot in this lap to try and build that margin as Ero's Locker into the pits. That should, demote him behind David, as you mentioned, the Monkey Boy Kurt. Rage Quit carries on. It looks like he's going to try and limit the damage, making only 1 pit stop, or at least hope for a safety car to help his cause at the end of the race. Fishsticks now in 2nd place. Eagle's now 3rd. The Tattoo Star's in 4th as all the pit stops are playing out. And now even bigger problems for the Tattoo Star. There's a Sheriff around these parts, and he's now looking to make the move on the Tattoo Star, and the Tattoo Star knows it's not worth the fight. He's looking for a switchback, though, make it a bit more promising for the McLaren, but Sheriff Woody asserts his authority, now in 4th place, and next up for him is the Red Bull of Edo, and equally for the Tattoo Star. So just stick to the back and hope you can get some slipstream and some DRS to pull and tow you along to the back of that Red Bull, which seems to be suffering now on those worn hards. Pitted on lap 10 for these tyres, did Edo, and he's now got another 9 laps to suffer with them and get them as far as he can. I don't know if Edo's going to make this work. He's going to try, though. He's going to do his damnedest. That's a given for the Red Bull. But there's only so much you can do with what you're given. And I think right now he's probably got himself a king and a 7, which is, at least in poker terms, a terrible hand to be dealt.
Yeah, Fish Sticks now approaching the back of Rage Quit. Is he going to come into the box? Oh, he slows right down. I'm assuming that's because he is coming into the box, and he is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Fish Sticks takes the lead, and he does have, at the moment...
Yeah, Eagle's in the pits as well.
Eagle's in the pits. The Eagle can't make them go to the end. Interesting. I thought maybe he would have been able to do that, but obviously not. So Sheriff Woody now is the main competitor for Fish Sticks, and the gap is 3.3 seconds. So he's actually only got 4/10 of a lead. So this is very interesting now. Fish Sticks has got to try and keep these mediums to the end. Tattoo Star is also on the hard tyre, and potentially will be coming back into the fight as well as we get even closer to the end of this race. So I think it's going to be very interesting here between these top 3 at the moment as it stands, to see who is actually going to be winning this race. Obviously Sheriff Woody is on the mediums as well, but he's pitted a little bit later than Fish Sticks. So interesting to see who is going to come up triumphing this one.
Let's have a look through the order. There's Hirsch, right on the back of Zafir. Zafir's on soft tyres, already done 4 laps on them, so he's going to be nursing them. TLC, 10 to 11 care for the Red Bull, get them to the end as best as he can, and somehow in all that, Locker's now found himself up on the points for the Haas team. Race Quit's now in 12th, as there's Hirsch thinking about it, looking for it. Got such a slipstream pull there on Zafir, who's really nursing these tyres to get them as far as he can. Button, don't count him out either, he's up in 5th on the freshest tyres among everyone. Right behind Mondo, looking to get some of the DRS in towards turn 1. Fish Sticks 3.4 seconds ahead of Sheriff Woody. Sheriff Woody's tyres 2 laps fresher than Fish Sticks. So Fish Sticks has took out all the good life to get ahead of the Alpine. Now he's got to stay there by at least 3 seconds, or hope the Alpine makes a mistake. Still on board with Hirsch, challenging Zafir. He's trying to break the slipstream, but it's all in vain. Hirsch, superior straight line speed for the McLaren, blitzes the Red Bull and is up into 7th place. Started, by the way, 17th, as we've said at the beginning of the race. Now out in 7th, potentially looking even for a top 5 with penalties ahead of him. Because next up for him is going to be the Sauber of Joshi. And only 2.5 seconds ahead of him is going to be Button, Mondo and the Tattoo Star. Hirsch is still on here as an outside candidate for a podium, as his teammate starts to back up Mondo and Button around turn 8. The Tattoo Star himself doing a cracking job to make a one-stop work. He's got 8 laps to go to make this work, but he's going to be under increasing pressure from the resurging Mondo and the recovering Button.
Yeah, definitely. And Mongo really looking now to try and make a move. But obviously, once again, he's got those penalties looming over his head, which is going to affect him. 3 seconds. So he's going to have to try and pull the gap in the last 5 laps of the race. And whether or not he can do that in the late stages on the mediums, I'm not so sure. But the Tattoo Star's going to try and stick this out. He's only still 2.4 seconds behind Sheriff Woody, so he's not really losing too much time to the Alpine, but he could lose even more if he starts fighting with the likes of Mongo and Button, who are about to now come past him. Potentially here he's going to lose 2 places in one straight as we now go and enter lap 24 of this race. And there goes Mongo, there goes Button. Button going to have a go at Mongo potentially as well. No, he's not. Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, he is.
And he gets the move done. And he goes up into P3, does Button, trying to fight his way back after that earlier mistake. And could he now be the one to try and mount a challenge to Sheriff Woody and Fishstick? He's only 2 seconds back. But yeah, Fishstick's at this stage, he is actually still gaining a little bit on Sheriff Woody. The gap now 4.2 seconds. So Fish does have a 1.3 second lead at the moment. 5 laps left to go. And yeah, this is all going to come down to who can nurse the tyres the best, I think. As we look down the order, obviously the Tatted Star is still at the moment going to be overtaking Mongo in terms of penalties. Hirsch will obviously overtake Fat Joshi for P6 as it stands. And Eagle obviously down now in P11. He should probably see himself into the points with David Lolface's 10 seconds that he's got to serve. It's just going to be interesting now to keep an eye on these gaps and see if anyone starts to drop off or starts to gain.
Well, it's one thing about gaining. As Hirsch, if only he had a better qualifying though, God knows where he would have been. No doubt in the turn 1 pile-up. That's what helped him get him up into 7th place at the first safety car. He's now back in 7th place, soon to be 6th, potentially 5th. If he can get within range of his teammate. And you see there Josh suffering a little bit on those worn medium tyres, not doing him any good though, drifting around the final corner. Hirsch using some of that battery, now using all of the battery he's got in stock. Down the inside he goes, and much like Zafir a few laps ago, makes light work of the Sauber, and that McLaren now 6th place, starting towards the back, and he's got to make up, I'd say, 3 seconds to the back of at least his teammate, and Mondo is now down it towards turn 4. Joshi thinking about a response, doesn't really have much to offer. Hirsch is now free to hunt down his teammate, as I heard a little giggle in the background as Shadows is tuned in and saying go Fish, and V Carb is mega. Take a wild guess at which team he's driving for in Tier 1. Shadows, oh no. For those who don't know, as we said, our Twitch chat has incentives, as up Major Allen with the Pride Point, as we're calling it, in the fastest lap. For those who don't know, our Twitch chat, we have incentives for the commentary team. A certain Trostery, as you will know from his time in the commentary booth with me, has redeemed a truth or dare. That's all I know. He's told me dare. It seems like it's been an agreed behind closed doors, because I heard a little giggle there from Monkey Boy Kurt. So I will say boys in on it as well. Trostery, what have you got? As I'm probably going to have to psych myself up. The Tattoo Star is still holding on in range to the Mongo's 3 seconds, but those hards just starting to fade away for the McLaren, who by no means has put a foot wrong. It's just everyone else is making the 2-stop work better. We've got 4 laps left at Bahrain, and Fishstick's margin of victories now is going to be 1 second. He's broken a lot more. At least he's got a 4-second lead over Sheriff Woody, but with Fishstick's penalties, he's got 3 seconds to be served as he crosses the line. So as it is, Fishsticks looking to get back to winning ways in Tier 3. Much like he done around Texas in the pre-season, he's looking to make it right in the main campaign and get his first victory since Season 8 when he won the Tier 3 division.
It is indeed. It's still 4.1 seconds. It's getting to the stage now, though, however, where the mediums are getting to 10 laps, so Sheriff Woody potentially will have a bit more pace in the final couple of laps. But at the moment, it doesn't look like that is the case. If they suddenly do drop off, it could be very interesting going into potentially the last 1 or 2. Tatted Star now has dropped out of that 3 seconds that he was trying to stay in with Mongo, so he is P5 at the moment, and it looks like his teammate Hirsch might even be harrying him towards the end to try and take that P5 off him. Obviously, they both have no penalty, so he will have to make the move on track. But yeah, looking at it now, Button as well. Could Button pose a big threat? There's a yellow flag, and I believe that is Locker.
Locker's made a mistake.
Locker's made a mistake down at Sector 2, trying to get in the DRS, or maybe that's actually, maybe that is strategic, so he gets the DRS to go back past Eagle down the straight into lap 27. Potentially it is, but Zafir can't hold on to those softs anymore with 3 laps left to go. He's going to have to pit for another set, or potentially mediums. There is there's another yellow flag out in Sector 3. There isn't, so I don't know why. But yeah, looking at it now, Fishstick's 4.7. It looks like it's his race, unless Button can get past Sheriff Woody and have, you know, a couple of good laps to the end. I think Fish has got this in the bag.
I think it's going to have 3 more qualifying laps for Button here. He's got 5.5 seconds back to Fishsticks, and he's got to get ahead of Sheriff Woody. So for Button, it's nearly mission impossible, but equally, Button's been known to not make things easy for him. Oh, Trostry. Trostry is actually now sent. Oh, it's per Tidgham. 40 years were in on this. Oh, for God's sake. So, per Tidgham's request by Trostry, well seen it's him, he's requested me to sign Pint Pony Club by Chapel Roan. You know, I'll sign us out of the stream with it, aka probably not, but I'm a man to hold up my end of the deal. Yeah, okay. Right, okay, right. 2 laps left at Bahrain. I'm going to want to rant. All yous were in on this. Every single one of yous were in on this. Right, is there anyone else I should know about? Steele, Tidgham, Gary, Trostry, you in the commentary booth. Anyone else? Judging by the muted silence, probably is, but I'm not meant to know. The whole league. Yeah, true. What have I done to you? What have I done? Yeah, I think Monkey Boy Kurt is probably just away, probably laughing. He's probably just laughing his head off right now. Just enjoying Rant de Resta.
Oh no,
right
sorry,
now.
I was on mute. I do apologise. I was on mute.
You know what, fair enough. Shadow's actually thought about it. Anyone else? Oh, Josh, no, Josh! Of all times, they make a mistake as well. Around turn 6, losing the rear of the car, and he's gone now to the fringes of the points. He'll still be happy with a point in debut, but it could have been so much better for Josh Major Allen. He's still going. Talk about off a cliff. All looking so promising for the Major, but a pit stop catastrophe for the Mercedes has put pay to his race as we are about to start the final lap at Bahrain. Fish sticks breaking away, running away, scampering off into the sunset, the night sky around the Sakhir circuit. 5.8 seconds over Sheriff Woody, but the main attraction, the fight for second place, involving the Alpine with that battery harvested and charged. Button full charge in towards turn 1, braking late in towards turn 1, will have the detection. He's behind at the detection line, will have the run at turn 4. Sheriff Woody doesn't want to let him through too easily, obviously fighting for second place. He's got a habit of getting a podium on the opening round, but it's going to have to be third place here, I fear, for the Alpine, as Button completes the recovery up to second place, but Sheriff Woody for the switchback in towards turn 4. Button just has enough fresher tyres and is up to second place, and as good as it'll be for the Mercedes driver. Hirsch now up to 6th, getting ahead of David Lawface, is in range of the Tattoo Star to spoil the teammates' party and get a top 5. The one-stop race versus the two-stop for the McLaren duo, and that'll go down to the line, I am sure. And on the run to the line, a victory lap for Fish Sticks. He hasn't won a league race since all the way back in Season 8, almost a year ago, for the RB driver. And around the penultimate couple of corners, as Josh has made another mistake! He's now out of the points! Oh, Josh, man. It was all going so well for the Sauber, and it's all collapsed with 2 laps to go. And old form rekindled for Fish Sticks, and as the night sky is going to light up with fireworks, it's going to light up in his honour, and Fish Sticks, for the first time in nearly a year, wins an FPRL. Fish Sticks takes it around Bahrain. Button recovers from a lap 1 massacre to take second place. Sheriff Woody completes the podium in third. Mondo, 4th. Tattoo Star makes the one-stop work for a P5. Herschel takes 6th in his recovery. David Lawface is going to, potentially escape here with 7th, but of course he's got 10 seconds of penalties. That'll drop him potentially out the points. No, it won't. Edo takes 7th. David takes 8th. Locker is going to take 9th place just ahead of Zafir, who rounds out the points. Rage Twit, Dredders, Delta, Major Allen and Joshy. It is all collapsed for the Sauber driver. He's got a puncture on the final run in the final lap of this track. Certainly not the inauguration he's wanted to FPRL, but the coronation and victory for Fish Sticks, and the RB with the dream start to his championship pursuit and to find his old form and get back in his feet. Fish Sticks wins our opening round around Bahrain.
Yeah, it was definitely a good drive from the V carb today. And also, he picked the strategy. He could have come in when everyone else did at the safety car, but decided he was going to stay out. And in the end, that proved to be the one to go for. Button did fight back, obviously, after that mistake about halfway through the race to P2. But it is Fish that takes the win. And Sheriff Woody as well, a good fight. Always has a really good opening race to the season. That's a podium for him. Mongo finishes 4th, and the Tattooed Star holds on to 5th, which is a good result for him as well. Hirsch comes up 12 positions to 6th, and yeah, I think we can say that was definitely a good race to watch for our comeback season 11 of FPRL Cruiser.
Well, that it is. I'm just making my feelings felt in the Twitch chat to everyone who's chimed in with the Chapel Roan request for me to sing. You guys know after 29 laps of this track, in nearly an hour and a half, my voice is going to be shot. So, I don't know what he expected me. Anyway, what he's expecting now of Fish Sticks is to keep up this fine form and get going. Oh, Tijim, you're here as well. Good, I can call you what I want to call you, although I want him to keep it civil. But Fish Sticks, despite the 3-second penalty, winner by 2.2 seconds over Button. Sheriff Woody in third. We'll get all of our top 3 in for a quick chat in just a few moments. Mondo from 5th to 4th. Not the full story though for Mondo. Tattoo Star for 5th. Hirsch 16th. Well, 6th place after starting in 18th place. Edo 11th to 7th, recovering after a late pit stop. David will take 8th place, jockeying in the mid-pack for quite a duration of the race. Locker gets points for the Haas team, and Zafir, after another late pit stop, picks up the fastest lap. But of course in F125, bonus point for a fastest lap has been scrapped, so it's just the one for Zafir, who steals it away from Gregors, Rage Quit Delta, Major Allen and Joshi limping over the line in 15th. And the casualties tonight, Godfather didn't see the end of turn 1, Rainbow didn't see the end of the opening lap, LIG Josh after some setup issues, Dynamo Dan and Leonardo, the 5 who didn't see the checkered flag. As my voice is going. Shadows says, Cruiser, you can always do the Gary. No, I'm not doing that, and then end the stream. I'm a man of my word. Look, it's not like you're asking me to sing Defying Gravity, because that might just put an end to my esophagus. So say boy said sure, and Crossley says, don't tempt him. I'm a man of my word. Alright, I'll do the chorus when we sign off, and I'll give everyone a good laugh on the way out the door.
I'm not going to have to get my ears serviced after semi-cruiser.
It might be worth at least deafening for the moment.
Okay, I'll get an appointment booked in then.
Yeah, might as well get the ambulance and speed dial while you can. Let's head to the Alpine camp. Sheriff Woody, before you... Oh, Steel says he's changed his mind. Interesting. He's now got the idea of me saying Defying Gravity. Interesting. What is this? Steve has now said, sing that Martin Clune song from Come Fly With Me. Do you take me for a jukebox? Do you take me for now that's what I called hit album of 2025?
I think so, mate. I think so.
Anyway, multi-board chart. In the meantime, while I need to rehydrate my my vocal cords, Sheriff Woody, our P3 driver. Over to you and my fellow Procons partner.
Yeah, thank you, Cruiser. Obviously, everyone, please tune in to the end of the stream because we've got to hear this now from Cruiser. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy my blueberries while I listen. But more to the point, P3, Sheriff Woody, and you always seem to have a very good first race of the campaign, don't you? Find yourself back on the podium. And we'll go through quali first. Obviously, it was P7. Was that what you expected? Did you want to be higher? Did you think you'd be lower? What were you expecting going into the session?
I think it was around about the sort of lap that I expected to do. I think after the first run, Godfather tried to give me a tow, and I just couldn't get a good lap together, so I towed him for the next two. Worked for him. But yeah, my lap was about as good as I could do, to be fair, and P7's about where I was last year, so I'll take it.
Yeah, no, obviously, if you thought you were going to be around there, then obviously good to target that position. So obviously going into the race, and I don't know what you saw of the of the Turn 1 incident. Anything from your side of things? Because on our screens, we definitely saw one particular Sauber going right into the path of many drivers in front of him.
I got blessed a bit by going around the outside, I think. Unfortunately, all I saw was my teammate just get absolutely smashed. So yeah, I just got a bit lucky being around the outside, picked up a bit of front wing damage, and had to change that in the first stop. But yeah, other than that, I was relatively unscathed from it.
Yeah, lucky for your teammate. Obviously, we did think that yourself and Godfall would be a very strong pairing for potential overall constructors, but obviously he has scored no points today, so unlucky for him. But more on to you going into the race, and obviously you pitted the safety car when we saw it for Dynamo Dan quite early on. We're obviously always asking the question in the comments: what were you going to be able to take those tyres to the end? Obviously, that wasn't the case. But how did you feel on those mediums in the second stint? Were you starting to lose them towards the end of the race?
Yeah, with about like 5 laps to go, when I was trying to push to catch up with Fish and get within 3 seconds, the sliding just started, and at that point, it was just a case of trying to hold on with Button and Mongo coming behind, and yeah, I couldn't hold on any longer at the end. Tried to stick with Button and get him up into T3, but yeah, he was just too quick at the end. I think he pitted a lap after me, and just younger tyres just worked well for him.
Yeah, that's kind of how it goes, isn't it? Well, obviously, it was a clean race for you in terms of penalties. No penalties for you, which obviously helps you keep your position of P3. So next week, we're moving on to Suzuka, and it's going to be a sprint race. How are we feeling for that one?
Yeah, it's not one of my best tracks, so yeah, I think just take any points that come up from that. Tyre wear there is probably going to be a big problem, and track limits too. So just see how it goes, but I'll take any point next week.
Okay, well, hopefully it's a strong season from now on. Obviously, good P3 today. Hopefully, it continues for you throughout the whole campaign. But well done on the P3 tonight. And yeah, hand over to Cruiser for P2.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Monkey. And well done to Sheriff Woody. Third place for yourself. Let's now head to the Mercedes camp, where Button is not here.
Yeah, he hasn't got time. He has to load up his car for Silverstone,
Fair enough.
and he was having headset issues as well. So
that's not ideal. But still, doesn't make it easy for himself, this Button. And that's all we'll say on that. Still a good effort from him to make it to second place on track. And the voice you've just heard, of course, is Mr. Fishsticks. Welcome back to the top step. And it's fair to say as well, you were also blessed with that commotion at the start. But it's all about making the right strategy at the right time.
it was a bit hard to figure out what to do at the first few laps. VS, 3 laps in, we'd only done a lap of actual green flag. So yeah, it was a bit of a sort of just survive first stint, I think, definitely.
And when the safety car came out, it did commit you to make a one-stop race. So was there any doubts, considering how closely you were being followed by the field around you? Do you think you'd actually make it as far as you did?
I was quite surprised, but then I wasn't really looking at the tyre wear. I was just following Tao. He was on the softer tyre, so I was like, well, I should be able to go longer than him. So I just kept following, waited until we hit, and then I looked and went, okay, we do a few more laps. Then came in.
As I'm trying to be... Right, I'm actually going to try and set up a poll in our Twitch chat in the meantime. But of course, final question for yourself is, as we head off to Suzuka next week and a sprint race, obviously it's going to be a track. Like tonight, you will see penalties, but equally a sprint race as well. So double the opportunity for points, but equally double the chance of misfortune.
Indeed.
Is it one that you see yourself doing well at?
I always like Suzuka, whether I'm at the back or at the front, so I'll have fun no matter what. Though historically I don't do very well at sprint races, but I enjoy the track, so yeah, I'll be having fun no matter what. So
And on that note, that's going to be it for our drivers. So, well done, Fish Sticks. We'll leave the McLaren up on stream, and I've mundled up the broadcast view. Well, that's not ideal. Right, Twitch chat, I'm throwing it over to you. First person to chime in with Martin Clune or Chapel Roan. Go. First name I see is what I'm doing. And in the meantime, Monkey Boy Kurt. Crossery says Chapel. Right, I'm doing Chapel Roan. God damn it. Monkey Boy Kurt. It's time for our driver of the day. As true as the auto can't contain his excitement.
It is time for our driver of the day, and it was a race full of crashes, full of exciting moments, and obviously different strategies as well, which played a big part in the result of this race. And because of that, they've gone and played the strategy. It's basically the best one there could have been, and they come out from 10th on the grid, and they've won the race. So I'm going to be boring here and give it to the race winner, which is Fish Sticks. So well done, mate.
Oh, sweet. Cheers. Thank you.
Cruiser.
He's getting the
There we
lyrics,
go.
isn't he?
I was
That's what
on
it
mute.
is. He's getting the lyrics.
Yep.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought he was making out his mic's disconnected.
Oh, he's doing
Yeah.
Prime Gary.
I could've-
I'm not singing it.
I
I'm
could've-
not singing it.
I'm not doing that.
No.
I could have, but I'll need to now load up the lyrics to Pint Pony Club. Why do you do this to me? Oh my goodness. By the way, Fish Sticks, driver of the day for our opening round around the Bahrain circuit. And thank you everyone for tuning in and for watching, and I apologise for in about 5 minutes time when I attempt to sign Chapel Roan with a voice that has been doing commentary for the past hour and 37 minutes, soon to be hour 40. Okay, by Kurt, it's good to have you back in the commentary box, and I apologise as well. Make sure you just have the ambulance and speed dial, not for dehydration, but through doing deaf.
I've got 999
still-
already dialed, mate. So get ready.
Good choice. Fish Sticks, you might want to leave to avoid a similar fate, or
I don't know,
good
is
luck
it,
if you want to
is it,
stay.
which one are you singing?
Twitch chat, be kind enough to give me Chapel Roan.
Yeah, but which
So-
one of those?
Pink Pony Club. Yeah.
Ah, no, I'll stay. I want to hear it live.
Great now. I've got a witness. Now's the part where I leave the party and sign off. But yeah, I've got the lyrics up on stream. Why do you guys do this to me? Right. And now I don't want to do it. I suppose we've got to end off the stream at some point, so. Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Right, that's all you're getting, right? I'm a wuss. I know that. I'm a wuss. I'm sorry. That's all you get. I'm just gonna half-ass Peter Griffin mumble it.
Oh, my mic's just
There you
broke.
go.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, well, I've got to end off. I didn't even do the stream announcements before deafening everyone, so no one knows we'll be live this Wednesday. But yourself, Monkey Boy Kurt, hopefully you've recovered in time to take to the Bahrain circuit. And 8 PM UK time, Wednesday the 2nd of July, before we round off our week in Bahrain. On the 4th of July, around the Sakhir circuit. Guys, you can reserve Martin Clune for next week. And yes, Steele, I know it was. That's the idea, because I've got an audience around me right now, and I'm not going to embarrass myself to sing Chapel Roan. I've listened to it on Spotify. 8 PM UK time, Wednesday and Friday, a Tier 2 and Tier 1 race, and be sure to tune in next week, FPRL, on the 6th of July. Our Summer of Speed is just getting underway, where we head off to Japan, and Steele, you are getting deafened. I'm sorry. You're getting deafened, because I don't want to hear what you want to say. I should have left this party and do not disturb. Thank you for tuning in and for watching Monkey Boy Kurt. If you can hear me, or at least I'll need to learn sign language next time in the commentary booth. Thank you, and I'm sorry for sticking by me this long.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. That was a good first opening race, and hopefully it could be the same next week, obviously. So yeah, let's look forward to that one.
Crossreader says that he's reserved Martin Clune for the points he's getting back. Come fly with me. Yeah, I'll need to learn the lyrics to that next week. You guys are terrible. And there's a reason why Trossard's part-time in the comms box, because he knows whenever I'm lurking about, he's going to get a similar fate, and then he'll chicken out of it. Anyway, we've got to sign off because we're hitting an hour 40. Monkey Boy Chat, thank you for joining me on our opening night, and this has been Cruiser 1872. Thank you very much, and for watching. I'm going to hide myself in embarrassment now and wear the paper bag over my head. But that's going to be it for us from FPRL, and this time it is a good night and a goodbye. We'll see you next week. We'll be head off to Suzuka, and I'll see you on track this Friday to conclude the week around Bahrain. Good night.